In the stillness of the night, karma works without a sound. Someone who hurt you may appear to have gotten away scot-free, but beneath the surface, the universe's quiet justice may already be in motion. The Stoic philosophers taught that no evil deed goes unaccounted, not because of mystical fate alone, but because wrongdoing carries its own punishment within. As Socrates once declared, "It is better to suffer wrong than to do wrong." Why? Because the one who does wrong ultimately harms themselves most of all. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee. Whoever undermines others undermines themselves." So how can we tell if someone's karma has caught up to them silently? Rather than dramatic public falls, the consequences often unfold quietly in a person's heart and life. The Stoics believed that virtue is its own reward and vice its own punishment. This means that when people act unjustly, their suffering often begins from within. Stay with us as we explore 5 subtle signs that someone is already receiving their karma, silently. Each sign comes with a blend of storytelling, philosophical insight, and Stoic wisdom to shed light on how poetic justice plays out behind the scenes. By the end, you'll not only recognize these signs, but also feel empowered to let go of vengeance and trust the silent workings of justice. 1. The unquiet conscience. When a person has done something deeply wrong, their greatest judge is their own conscience. One silent sign of karmic consequence is an inner restlessness that they just can't shake. Imagine a man who betrayed his best friend to climb the corporate ladder. Outwardly, he enjoys the promotion. Inwardly, his mind is ill at ease. Late at night, he stares at the ceiling, replaying the moment of betrayal. Guilt gnaws at him in the silence. He might not admit it, but you can see it. The distant look in his eyes, the forced laughs, the moments he falls unnaturally quiet when honesty or loyalty comes up in conversation. These are signs of a conscience that won't rest. According to Stoic philosopher Seneca, never to wrong others takes one a long way towards peace of mind. What happens if you do wrong to others? You lose your peace of mind. Seneca warns that people who lack moral restraint live stormy and disordered lives, spending their time in fear and turmoil proportional to the harm they've caused. In other words, a guilty conscience creates its own inner storm. The wrongdoer may smile in public, but when alone, they're confronted with the voice of their conscience, reminding them of their misdeeds. They might experience sudden bouts of irritability or anxiety with no external cause, a turmoil from within. The Stoics understood that one cannot escape oneself. Every guilty person is their own hangman. As one ancient wisdom puts it, the mind punishes itself with regret and shame long after the world has moved on. If you notice someone acting inexplicably uneasy or sleepless after doing something bad, it's likely this unquiet conscience at work. This silent suffering is karma's first foothold. They carry the weight of their actions, and that weight manifests as a restless mind and a heart that knows no peace. In Stoic terms, no pillow is soft enough to comfort a bad conscience. The first sign of silent karma is written in the lines of their face when they think no one's watching, in the tension of their body when a certain topic comes up, an invisible burden that only the guilty heart can feel. 2. Fear in the shadows. Another silent indicator of karma at work is fear quietly creeping into the wrongdoer's life. When someone harms others, they often start to look over their shoulder, expecting some form of retribution. Even if no one is actively seeking revenge, they believe someone or something will. This manifests as subtle paranoia. They might be overly defensive, suspicious of others' motives, or constantly worried that their misdeed will catch up to them. It's as if their subconscious knows justice is coming, even if slowly. Stoic philosophy brilliantly captures this dynamic. Seneca observed, "To be feared is to fear," meaning a person who makes others afraid lives in fear themselves. He notes that no one can strike terror into others while enjoying peace of mind. Consider a corrupt official who abuses power. He will start fearing his own colleagues, dreading that someone will do the same to him or expose him. In everyday life, if someone spreads hurtful gossip, notice how they become anxious that others are gossiping about them. One who cheated a friend now constantly worries about being cheated. This quiet fear is karma, reflecting their actions back at them. This sign can be subtle. Perhaps they jump at sudden noises, or they seem excessively concerned with locks, cameras, or security, as if danger lurks everywhere. They might suddenly become private or secretive, fearing inquiries that could reveal their wrongdoing. Internally, they're battling the expectation of punishment. The Stoics would say, such fear is a sign that virtue is absent, for the virtuous person sleeps soundly, untroubled by dread of what's to come. Karma doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers to the wrongdoer through every uneasy glance and every moment of dread. When you see someone living in the shadows of fear, it's a good bet that their past actions are casting those shadows. Their own deeds have taught them to expect darkness in return, a truly karmic consequence, delivered in silence. 3. The lonely road, isolation. Karma often unfolds in the realm of human relationships. One profound silent sign is isolation, finding themselves slowly ostracized or alone due to their actions. When someone consistently treats others poorly or breaks trust, people may not confront them loudly, but one by one, they drift away. The phone stops ringing with invites, friends excuse themselves earlier, colleagues keep things strictly professional. There may be no dramatic fallout, but an observant eye sees the circle around this person growing thinner. Picture a woman who always took advantage of others' kindness. She wasn't overtly cruel, but manipulative enough that people eventually felt used. Over time, friends stopped seeking her out. Now, she scrolls her contacts on a Friday night and finds no one to call. This loneliness is karmic, a direct result of the bridges she quietly burned. In the workplace, a manager who gained a reputation for unfairness finds that when he needs support on a project, no one is eager to help. He stands professionally isolated, reaping the quiet consequences of sowing distrust. Stoicism emphasizes our interconnectedness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "We are parts of a community. What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." When someone harms the hive, the community of friends, family, or co-workers, the bee themselves will inevitably suffer. Harming others harms oneself. In this case, the harm is the loss of companionship and support. There's no need for fiery revenge or public shaming. The poetic justice lies in the empty spaces around them. The trust that's gone, the friendships that faded. You might notice this sign in subtle ways. They may mention people abandoning or avoiding them, not realizing they pushed those people away through past behavior. Or perhaps they suddenly profess they prefer to be alone, a stoic front for what is actually a lack of close friends. The silence here is palpable. No accusations, no fights, just the quiet realization that they stand alone. This lonely road is karma's way of saying, when you do not consider others, you eventually walk alone. For the wrongdoer, solitude can be a mirror showing them the truth of how their actions affect those around them. It's a heavy lesson, delivered without a word. 4. Poetic echoes and setbacks. Life has a way of circling back what we put out. The fourth silent sign of karma is when the person experiences uncanny echoes of their own behavior, setbacks, or situations that reflect the harm they caused. This isn't about wishing ill on anyone. It's about the natural feedback loop of actions. Call it fate, call it cosmic justice, or simply cause and effect. Sometimes those who do wrong find themselves in poetic situations that rhyme with their past deeds. Consider the arrogant businessman who prided himself on exploiting others for gain. One day, a market crash wipes out his fortune. As he quietly rebuilds, he encounters people as ruthless as he once was, who take advantage of his vulnerability. He learns, intimately and silently, what it feels like to be on the other side of exploitation. Or think of someone who habitually spreads false rumors. Later, their own reputation suffers due to a baseless rumor. Suddenly, they endure the same doubt and hurt they once inflicted. There's no fanfare to these events, no public gotcha. From the outside, it might just look like bad luck or life's hurdles, but to the person, it feels uncannily personal and instructive. It's as if the universe handed them a script where they must play the part of their victims. Philosophically, many traditions echo this truth. An ancient Greek proverb states, "The mills of the gods grind slowly, but they grind exceedingly fine," meaning that divine justice may be slow, but it's thorough. In Stoic terms, while we don't control external events, the universe has a way of ensuring harmony in the long run. Bad actions often lead to bad outcomes, directly or indirectly. A Stoic might not be surprised that a life of dishonesty eventually entangles the liar in a web of distrust and misfortune. It's not magic. It's simply that vice creates weakness and instability, which sooner or later yields suffering. Watch for those subtle karmic echoes. The person might never admit the connection, but if you listen to their stories of misfortune, you may notice a poetic pattern. The revenge isn't delivered by any person at all. Life itself becomes the teacher. These setbacks and ironies are silent sermons, guiding the wrongdoer toward empathy. When they face the same pain they caused, even quietly, they're forced to taste their own medicine. This humbling experience is karma at work, not through loud retribution, but through the steady law of cause and effect. It's a sign that the universe has balanced the scales in its own patient way. 5. The change of heart. Perhaps the most profound silent sign of karma is a quiet transformation within the person. After enduring the inner turmoil, the fear, the loneliness, and the poetic justice of life's echoes, many wrongdoers come to a moment of self-reckoning. You might notice they have changed their behavior in subtle but significant ways. The once arrogant individual now shows humility. The chronic liar grows uncharacteristically honest. The selfish friend begins to extend kindness. They may not broadcast their regret, but in their actions and demeanor, you sense a shift toward the better. This inner reform is karma's most constructive outcome. Instead of simply punishing, it teaches. Stoic philosophy holds that recognizing one's wrongdoing is the first step toward improvement. Seneca, quoting Epicurus, put it beautifully. A consciousness of wrongdoing is the first step to salvation. For a person who is not aware that he is doing anything wrong has no desire to be put right. You have to catch yourself doing it before you can reform. In essence, the moment a person truly confronts their own faults, their better self can begin to grow. A silent sign of this is a noticeable change in their priorities and character. Even if they never explicitly apologize, they might start seeking wisdom, reading philosophy or spiritual works, or spending more time in reflection. You might catch them in moments of quiet thought, as if processing a lesson only they can hear. This transformation is often subtle and gradual. There won't be a dramatic confession under spotlights. Instead, you might hear through the grapevine that he's not the same guy he used to be, or she has really mellowed out these days. The vindictive spark in their eye is gone, replaced by something softer, remorse-tinged wisdom. They may even perform unsolicited acts of fairness or generosity, almost as if trying to balance the scales of their past. This is karma's silent redemption at work. The Stoics would nod in approval here. The individual, having suffered the natural consequences of vice, turns back towards virtue, the only true good. In this way, the poetic justice completes its arc, not by destruction, but by inner transformation. It's as if life quietly says, "Learn from this," and the person finally heeds the call. If you witness someone's character visibly improving after a period of adversity or isolation, you may well be seeing this final sign. There is something quietly inspiring about it. It reminds us that no one is beyond improvement, and sometimes the trials we go through are exactly what carve out a better human being. In the grand Stoic view, the goal is always to live in accordance with virtue. If karma pushes someone gently, or not so gently, back onto the virtuous path, it's the best outcome one could hope for. As in conclusion, let karma speak in silence. In the drama of life, not all justice announces itself with thunder. Often it works in whispers, in sleepless nights, and changed hearts. We've seen 5 subtle signs: an unquiet conscience burdened by guilt, fearful shadows of anticipation, the lonely road of isolation, life's poetic echoes handing out humble pie, and finally the inner transformation that redeems the lesson. These are the ways someone may already be receiving their karma, silently yet surely. What does this mean for us, especially those who have been wronged? It's a call to embrace a Stoic mindset. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In other words, let go of thoughts of retaliation. You don't need to lift a finger for justice. Often it unfolds on its own, in the background of the other person's life. The Stoics would urge us to replace vengeance with indifference or even pity towards the wrongdoer's fate. After all, if someone has acted unjustly, the offender needs pity, not wrath, Marcus reminds us, and the best kind of revenge is not to become like them. So when you recognize these signs, when you suspect that person who hurt you is already dealing with the fallout inside, take it as a gentle assurance from the universe. You can release the heavy burden of resentment. Instead of tracking whether karma has caught up to them, focus on your own path. Remain virtuous, calm, and steadfast, as a Stoic would. Your peace and progress are the highest priority, and paradoxically, they are also the ultimate revenge against wrongdoing, because you refuse to let it derail your character. In the end, remember that true justice often wears an invisibility cloak. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there, working quietly. Trust that every action weighs on the soul of its doer. Keep your heart free of hate, your mind free of worry, and let karma and conscience do their subtle work. As you do this, you become an agent of virtue in your own life, and that is immensely powerful. Next time you're wronged, take a deep breath and recall these silent signs. Remind yourself that you don't need to play judge, jury, and executioner. Life has a way of teaching lessons to those who need them. Choose the higher road. Be unlike those who hurt you. In doing so, you not only rise above their level, you also cultivate a peace that no one can take from you. In the grand play of karma and justice, play the role of the wise observer and the virtuous actor in your own story. Let your goodness be your guard. Stay strong, stay stoic, and let the silent truth of karma take care of the rest. Your revenge is your success and serenity, and the universe will handle the balance quietly in due time. Forge ahead with that knowledge and live well.